Hi, welcome to the Motion Picture Notion. I'm your host, Gabriel Burton. So about a year ago, I was just checking out Netflix, and I might have even done a search for existentialism or whatever, but I happened upon this movie called God's Not Dead. And I read the synopsis behind it, and it sounds somewhat intriguing. A college professor who's like a diehard atheist, and his student challenges him, and they have debates in class about the possible existence of God, and it's got Kevin Sorbo in it, which I remember from Hercules. So I was like, all right, cool, man, let me check this out. Absolutely. So I did, and the beginning credits roll. And right off the bat, there's kind of a really sappy kind of sounding opening song, and I'm like, I'm watching it, and this kid registers for this class, and Hercules basically says, all right, well, hey, before we begin this philosophy class, I want you all to basically write down on a piece of paper that God is dead. Because we're not going to have any of this God nonsense in my classroom. And right off the bat, I'm kind of thinking, I'm pretty damn sure that if any professor ever did that in any state in the United States, they would be shit-canned immediately. But okay, let's suspend disbelief. It's a movie, let's see where this goes. They eventually come to this agreement where they're going to do 3 debates, okay? Where he's gonna, the student is gonna vote in favor of God, and Hercules is gonna vote, in favor of science. And and if the student can convince the entire class, that God is not dead by the end of their thing, then it's a dead issue, and he won't fail the course and stuff. So then they have their first debate, all right? And I gotta say, this is why I continued watching the movie. The first 2 debates that they did were actually pretty well thought out, I have to say. They argued in favor of God via certain scientific principles. They also brought up different scientists that are highly regarded, and they basically blatantly contradict one another in certain ways. Whoever did this, whoever wrote the screenplay, at least as far as the first 2 debates go, they really did their homework. Now, in between all of these debates, there's a lot of shit going on with different characters. First of all, everything apart from those first 2 debates is very melodramatic, and I kind of just really didn't give a shit. The entire time I'm watching the movie, I'm like, alright, let's see the next debate. I want to see what happens, how this unfolds. And another thing is, and this is something that kind of bothered me a little and really bothered me towards the end, is that every single character in the movie who was not religious was a complete and total dickhead. All of the atheists, or I'm sorry, heathens or whatever, all of them, they were miserable human beings who were trying to inflict their own ideologies on everybody else. And it's sort of I think this is pretty goddamn biased, but I appreciated the fact that they tried to use scientific principles. The way that I looked at it, at least initially, was this is religious people, whoever did the film, trying to extend an olive branch, trying to be hey, look, we're living in a world of science, so here, we're going to give you this, and this is one way that we can appeal to your logic, and maybe you can kind of believe in God, or at least open it up as a possibility. So, again, I'm always down for existential conversation, so I was about it. But then it gets to the final debate. Almost in a fit of desperation, the kid goes, "You hate God. Why do you hate God?" "This is ridiculous." No, why do you hate God? It's a simple question. "I hate God because he took everything from me." Cop out. This dude is a philosophy professor in a university, and he's just gonna drop his entire argument and just succumb to this kid's outburst. No, he wouldn't. That would not fucking happen. Are you kidding me? Even if the teacher had some sort of vendetta against God, to save face in front of his fucking classroom, he would have just turned around and the kid would have been like, no, no, you're mistaken. And quite frankly, you're just grasping at straws right now. And I mean, like, that's it. And so then the class, like, rules that God is not dead. And it's like, really? You know what they could have done? You know what they could have done? They could have had it so that they just kept battling back and forth up until the end. And at the last debate, the teacher's like, okay, my mind is still not changed, okay? This is still bullshit. You've proven nothing. And then have, like, maybe half the class or something be like, no, God's not dead. But you hate God. Why do you hate God? Why? Like, why? I find that insulting. I really do. Because it's such a piece of shit propaganda film. It is such a bullshit movie. It's like, why did you do all this research? Why did you try to appeal to logical minds just to be like, fuck you, I'm Christian? Like, why did you bother? It's like a film that tried to successfully be condescending, but couldn't because it was so fucking stupid. There's a God's Not Dead 2. I want to watch it just so that I could fucking rip it a new one. Guys, awful movie. Awful movie. Bottom line, what did we learn from all this? God is not dead. But he would probably want to be if he ever saw that movie. And that is all she wrote.